This is the scene in Moneyball about midway through the movie that shows you how to achieve any goal you choose. You can skip ahead using the timestamps if you want to get right into it, but there are a couple important initial steps as well. Knowing these initial steps are just as valuable in my opinion because they involve finding the right path in your life. Without aiming at the right target, you will be lost. Billy Beane, the GM of the Oakland Athletics, has a problem. After a successful baseball season, his team gets fleeced for its three star players, Jason Giambi, Johnny Damon, and Jason Isringhausen. On a severely limited budget, he looks to his scouts and assistant coaches for answers. They have none. They are stuck in an ideology of how you would traditionally assemble a team. This will not work against organizations like the New York Yankees with more than 5 times their budget. This is the first critical thing that Billy Beane does, and nothing else matters if you don't do this properly. He clearly defines the problem, and that is that he needs to find a new way to compete with bigger budget teams. His main problem isn't that he needs to figure out how to replace his star players. In the end, that won't help him that much. What Billy is looking for is a paradigm shift. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. How you define problems in your life is a huge factor in the quality of your thoughts. As an example, say you're stuck in a low-paying job that makes you miserable. A lot of people in this situation see their problem as, what can I do so that I don't have to work this job anymore? A better way to frame the problem is, how do I pursue a new path that eventually will be rewarding both financially and personally? This second way of framing the problem allows for a solution that will be sustainable long term. So once you define your problem, now what? How do you find the solution? Billy Beane is haunted by his past, and you might be as well. His journey is a bit like Percival from the Arthurian legends. It's a very common story archetype in mythology as well as in real life. Percival found the Holy Grail early on in his journeys, but lost it. He then spent the rest of his life searching for it, frustrated with himself for losing it in the first place. Billy Beane was a star prospect coming out of high school. He was offered everything a baseball player could ever want. He found his Holy Grail, but then he also lost it. He never was able to perform in the big leagues. This traumatic past shaped the rest of his life, but instead of letting it defeat him, he used his past as a teacher that gave him valuable knowledge. So when Billy Beane meets Peter Brand, and he learns about a new system for picking players, he instantly knows it's the right path. He knows because the metrics that were used to pick him were completely wrong. His looks, his athleticism, his multiple skills on the field. In Moneyball, they pick their player based on one thing: how often do they get on base? We all live different lives, but when we're looking for solutions to our problems, we need to have a flexible mind. A lot of times, negative experiences in our past, like doing poorly at school, getting fired from a job, or even losing an argument, make us rigid in how we view the world. We blame ourselves unnecessarily for failures and limit our own potential. Don't do this. Look to your past for the lessons it teaches you. Arthur Schopenhauer said, "When you look back on your life, it looks as though it were a plot, but when you are in it, it's a mess. Just one surprise after another. Then later, you see it was perfect." So this brings us to the big idea that shows how to achieve anything. In Moneyball, Billy Beane decides to pursue a new philosophy of statistically choosing players. Initially, the team doesn't do well at all, and everyone questions his decision. It gets to the point where he's about to lose everything: his job, his family, his reputation. This is what he says when Peter questions his decision to trade their best player.
You know, this is the kind of decision that gets you fired.
I don't think we're asking the right question. I think the question we should be asking is, do you believe in this thing or not?
I do.
Now, I'm going to see this thing through, for better or worse.
He's decided the best course of action, and he's going to see it through no matter what. One of the most powerful Stoic ideas comes from Marcus Aurelius. You have power over your mind, not outside events. This is an extremely wise observation and possibly the foundational belief in Stoicism. Whether it's writing a novel, starting a business, or restructuring a baseball organization, your mind needs to focus on this goal for a sustained period of time to let the good things come to fruition. Motivational writer Zig Ziglar said it this way: "I don't care how much power, brilliance, or energy you have. If you don't harness it and focus it on a specific target and hold it there, you're never going to accomplish as much as your ability warrants." What happens to most people is that they let outside events affect the stability of their mind and deviate from their initial intention. Billy Beane is under intense pressure from the Oakland A's owner, the head coach, the scouts, and even his family. It's not easy, but he does not let it affect the course of action he set for himself. What really decides whether you accomplish anything is if you can withstand these harsh external forces and control your mind. Not every idea you have is going to succeed, but the key thing to do is to regroup and repeat the process over and over until something does work. In this case, though, Billy Beane's idea did work. The Oakland A's went on a historic 20-game win streak and made it deep into the playoffs. He was offered a huge contract by the Boston Red Sox to become the highest-paid general manager in any sport, but he turned it down to stay in Oakland. This isn't some quick fix for your life. It's a philosophical idea to live by. You have the power over your mind and not outside events. The good thing is that now that you are aware of this concept, you can better prepare for the road ahead, which if you make it to the end, will be well worth the effort.